Hi folks, hope you're all good. Just a quick video here about an idea I've had called hybrid utilitarianism. Now, hybrid utilitarianism is, as I call it, it's, as the name suggests, a mashup of two different types of utilitarianism. The two types of utilitarianism I'm talking about are hedonistic utilitarianism and preference utilitarianism. Now, for those who can't remember what the heck utilitarianism is or forgotten what those forms of it are, preference utilitarianism is the ethical view that the right thing to do if you've got two options is always the thing that will create the greatest amount of preferences being satisfied or wants being satisfied in the world. While hedonistic utilitarianism, that's the more famous type, it says that if you've got two options, the ethically right thing to do is the thing that will leave the world with the greatest amount of happiness or pleasure. So my hybrid utilitarianism is actually mainly preference utilitarianism, the first one I mentioned there, with a few caveats, basically, a few cases where a few exceptions where you go with hedonistic utilitarianism. So in most cases we'll be doing the thing that creates greatest amount of giving people what they want, basically. The exceptions are, the main exception is that if you're making a decision about creating new people or deciding what preferences those people will have, you should, in my view, make those decisions based on the hedonistic utilitarianism, based on maximizing happiness. So, for example, if I was going to have a kid and maybe it was in the near future, and or maybe 10 years away, 20 years away, that's what I mean. And I was deciding what personality traits that kid was going to have, then I should try to create the kid's preferences such that it has greater amount of happiness rather than I'm trying to make the most amount of preference satisfaction in the world. Because if I do the second thing, it seems a little bit silly to me. So you basically would try to give your kid preferences that were easily satisfied. You basically base the decision on what preferences to give the kid on which ones would be easily satisfied, which might be good in a way, I suppose. But I think it's not really the stuff of morality, I think, to do that. I think it'd be better to give the kid happiness. It feels better to me anyway to do that. So there are some other exceptions. One would be if you have to make decisions about people who are demented or very young children or non-human animals to some degree. I think in those cases, I think we should kind of do the paternalistic thing. We should look after them, and that doesn't mean giving them what they're asking for. It means giving them what's best for them. I know that all sounds a bit slightly scary, but I think in the cases of extreme mental health problems or extremely young children, it is the responsible thing to do to give them what's best for them, what's going to be best for their welfare, rather than what they want, which could be kind of destructive and insane stuff. Like, you wouldn't let a kid crawl onto some boiling water or something. that sort of thing. Another extreme case, or it's hypothetical, but I think it illustrates the point, is if a mad scientist, or an evil scientist rather, created a person and gave them the preference, like genetically engineered them to have the preference to prefer pain. But let's say this evil scientist just did it out of like to give him or herself like sick satisfaction, and then this person would be asking for stuff that it knew hurt would hurt him or herself. I think in those cases we should override again what they're asking for and give them what would give them greatest pleasure minus pain. So these are the. I think I've described it mainly now. There's just a couple of other points. One point is that I feel a couple more caveats. Basically, utilitarianism has this problem, in my view, that it doesn't deal with very large amounts of happiness or satisfaction very well. So it doesn't, particularly infinity. If you got a chance that something infinitely bad will happen or infinitely good, it does throw off your kind of decisions. I think I did a video about this once called Infinite Ethics, if you want to look that one up. But basically, it does lead to pretty serious problems. So I think I'd have a caveat that infinite amounts of pleasure that might happen if somebody says, I'm going to let me do this or I will send everyone to hell. I guess there's a tiny chance they have that power. But if you multiply that by infinity, it makes it, you should take that seriously under utilitarianism. Basically, large numbers should be treated like downgraded and treated like small numbers. Also, there's another problem with what I view as and a lot of people view as a problem with hedonistic utilitarianism, which is that it can lead to a case where you'd prefer to create an infinite or large field of worms who are like happy rather than benefit some people or something, or you'd actually hurt a lot of people rather in order to create a huge field of satisfied worms or something. I think in those cases, for those reasons, I think I would add a caveat that we should be not just maximizing pleasure of people when we're doing the hedonistic part. We should also be promoting their intelligence. So we're trying to do things that create intelligent life. And the same with the where you're dealing with insane people or young children. You should again be trying to promote their intelligence as well as their pleasure minus pain. So I think I've summed up my idea now. I hope you find it interesting, and all the best.